Welcome back everyone. Hi, if you're new, I'm Tori and welcome to 2023. It's so exciting but kind of unbelievable how quickly 2022 flew by. But here we are and I am just so excited for the new year ahead and all of the reading possibilities. We could potentially find a new favorite book this year. I cannot wait to start some series that are on my high priority TBR for the year. And I also cannot wait to wrap up series that I've been reading for a long time and to find new authors. I just see a lot of potential in 2023. The reading year just feels like this new, fresh, blank slate, and I just cannot wait to see what is gonna happen. What I love to do is kick off the new year with a book haul, and I do think this stack kind of represents how my reading tastes have been evolving over the years as both a fantasy and a sci-fi reader, and the types of series and types of content and books that interest me now. Let's get into the video. Again, welcome to 2023. I'm so thankful that you all are watching and that you're on this journey with me for the new year. So let's get into the video. Let's kick things off with a book that I'm currently reading right now. I'm about 30% of the way through Pines by Blake Crouch at the moment. I am really enjoying this so far. After I read Upgrade and Recursion last year, I've been so excited to go back into some of his older books. So Pines has been on my radar for a while and it just seemed like a good idea to kick off the new year with an author that I already, I'm familiar with and whose work I already love. And so far, this is not letting me down. This is so good. It has this really creepy air to it. We are following our main character, Ethan Burke, who is a Secret Service agent, and he's on this mission in Wayward Pines, Idaho, to find out what happened to two other federal agents. And while he's there, he's just not getting a clear answer to anything. At the very beginning of the book, when he gets up, he has a hard time remembering who he is and what's going on. And just as he makes his way through the town, going from like the hotel to the police station to the bars and stuff, everything just has this really mysterious, very odd air to it. And this book is just giving me so many different vibes. At first I was getting like Truman Show vibes, almost like creepy Truman Show, and then it was kind of giving me like Twin Peaks vibes, Alan Wake vibes. So there's a lot of really great atmospheric things happening in this book. I'm really enjoying the setting so far, but also I'm just really enjoying watching this story unfold and just seeing how things get even more and more mysterious. I'm gonna keep making my way through this. I feel like I can wrap this up in the next day or two because it is pretty short, but just overall it is very enjoyable, and at this point I expect nothing less of Blake Crouch. Now let's get into a book that I am so excited for that it is actually on my January priority TBR list, and that is Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio, and this is book 1 in the Sun Eater series. I have had my eye on the Sun Eater series for a couple of years now, but the publisher has blurbed this book as being really good for fans of Patrick Rothfuss, so The Name of the Wind and Wise Man's Fear. If you guys know this, maybe you don't, but if not, I'm telling you now. I do not like The Name of the Wind, and to compare something to The Name of the Wind is quite honestly the quickest way for me to not read it. But the other half of the blurb says that it's also perfect for fans of Pierce Brown, so the Red Rising saga. And I'm just like, how does that work? How do you take a series that I do not like at all, and one of my favorite series of all time, love of my life, Red Rising, and put them together and say, oh yeah, if you love those two, you'll love this. So in this, we're following our main character, Hadrian, and he comes from a noble family, but he's also extremely infamous because he destroyed a sun and about 4 billion people along with it. And so he's carrying this reputation. We as the reader already know this going in, and I'm thinking the whole series is leading up to that moment and basically how did we get here kind of situation. And we're following Hadrian through his life and all of the ups and downs and turmoils and triumphs and things that he's experienced. So my curiosity for this has just gotten so strong that I'm like, I'm just gonna read this in January. So this is on my TBR and I cannot wait to tell you more about this in my January wrap up. And then next I picked up the first book in a fantasy series that has had my eye for a while now, and that is Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan, and this is book 1 in the Powder Mage trilogy. I actually already have a book by Brian McClellan on my shelf, which is In the Shadow of Lightning, and this came out in 2022. So he is an author that I've been wanting to read for a while now, but it's kind of gotten to the point where I want to go back and experience McClellan's older works first before getting into his newer series, and that series is still being published, so I also will have time to catch up too. Promise of Blood just sounds so good. The setting is inspired by the French Revolution, and the tag on it says, "The Age of Kings is Dead." And in this, The magic system sounds so interesting. It's a like gunpowder based magic system, and I think characters snort gunpowder. And I'm looking at the quote from Brandon Sanderson on the front. It says, "Just plain awesome." And I'm thinking, yeah, that does sound pretty awesome. Kind of weird, but kind of awesome. So I will be getting into Promise of Blood sometime in 2023. And then next I picked up Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. And this was purely a booktube made me buy it kind of book. I feel like I could not escape Legends and Lattes in 2022. I was seeing it everywhere. Everyone was recommending it. Several of you in the comment section were recommending it and just how much you loved it. I couldn't get away. Just because of that, I think I'm more curious than anything about this book. I just want to see what all the fuss is about now. And I feel like this is going to be just a perfect cozy read to curl up with sometime, you know, before the winter is over. But in this, we are following our main character, Viv, who's an orc. After a life of battles and fighting and everything, she decides to hang up her armor and all of her weapons and open up a coffee shop. And that just sounds so peaceful and so quaint. And again, I've heard nothing but positive things about this book and just how much people love the coziness of it, that like kind of warm feel to it. So after hearing so much about it, consider me intrigued. And then next I picked up The Word for World is Forest by Ursula K. Le Guin. I've been wanting to give Ursula K. Le Guin a second chance ever since I DNF'd The Left Hand of Darkness. And it was more like a soft DNF. I just recognized that I was not really in the mood for that at the moment, and unfortunately I just haven't gone back to it yet. Ursula K. Le Guin, she's a classic sci-fi author and one whose work I've really been wanting to get more into over the years. But in this we have inhabitants of a world and their world is invaded, and pretty soon things get desperate enough where they do start to rebel, but in doing so it begins to crumble different parts of the society. So this sounds great and I can't wait to experience this. And then next I picked up Battle Royale. This is by Koshun Takami, and I picked this up because of Gabby from Gabby Reads. This just sounds so brutal, so epic. In this we're following a group of high school juniors and they're dropped off on this deserted island and they're given weapons and they are told to basically kill each other off, and only one of them can survive. I cannot wait to get into this, and just hearing Gabby talk about it just had me really interested. Next I picked up Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson. This is one that was actually recommended to me by Goodreads of all places. Normally I do not pay any attention to Goodreads recommendations because they are so more missed than hit, but it recommended it to me because it said that I loved The Justice of Kings. This does sound really interesting. So in this we have a lord and he united this land with his divine powers before he ascended to heaven. And then almost 1,000 years later now we have this medieval land and we are following 4 characters who begin to come into their supernatural abilities over the course of the story. So that's all I know about this, and it sounds like this land is experiencing religious persecution and religious wars. So that's sounds so interesting to me and I cannot wait to get into this for myself. Next, I have one that I cannot wait to read, and that is Bloodmarked by Tracy Dion, and this is book 2 in the Legendborn cycle. I loved Legendborn. This is a young adult fantasy series and it is so good. I love our main character Bree. In this we have a secret society and the members of the society are descendants of the Knights of the Round Table. Our main character Bree in the first book, she gets wrapped up into this secret world and in the process starts learning more about her mother's past and just their maternal family line in general. Just the way that the Arthurian legend is woven into the story I think is so expertly done. I will be getting to Bloodmarked very, very soon. I cannot wait. I love it so much. I love the way also that Tracy Dion, you know, pulls in so many historical elements and infuses that into Bree's own present day. It is just, it's so good. So more to come on Bloodmarked, but this is one of my anticipated reads for the year. And then next I picked up Catalyst Gate, which is the 3rd and final book in the Protectorate series by Megan O'Keefe. Book 1, Velocity Weapon, is amazing. It was my favorite book that I read a couple of years ago, and it is just full of action, political intrigue. It is just such an exhilarating space opera and I highly recommend it. I still have not read the second book, Chaos Vector, but that is coming very soon. But in the meantime, I just went ahead and rounded out the rest of the trilogy because I love it so much. But Velocity Weapon, definitely put that one on your TBR if it does sound intriguing. And yeah, now I own the full trilogy. I picked up 2 books in the Witcher series by Andrzej Sapkowski, and these are the new hardcover editions from Orbit. The first one that I have here is Sword of Destiny, and this is the 2nd short story collection. I picked up The Time of Contempt, which is book 2 in the series proper. I've mentioned this before, but I've already read The Last Wish, which was the 1st short story collection, and I already own Blood of Elves book 1 in these editions. So I'm just slowly accumulating the Witcher series. This is a series that I want to start and finish in 2023. I already love the world of The Witcher so much. I love these characters. I cannot wait to update you guys on The Witcher throughout the year. Sword of Destiny is on my priority TBR for January. And then next I picked up The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison. This is another one that I just feel like I could not escape. So many people have been reading this book and just not only reading it, but like loving it, like raving about it. So this has just really been calling to me, especially with all the good things I've been hearing about it. In this, we're following our main character, Maya, and he has been living his entire life in exile and far away from the imperial court. But when the book starts, we find out that Maya's father and his brothers have been murdered, and Maya is forced into court politics. And we're really just following him on that journey as he tries to navigate political and court life. I cannot wait to get into this. I've been craving like a really good political fantasy, especially since I've read The Trade of Baruch Cormoran. I just feel like I haven't found anything quite on that like slow burner political intrigue level since then, and so I can't wait to get into this. And next I picked up this really amazing sounding sci-fi novel called Breaking Day, and this is by Adam Oyebanji. In this, we are following characters that are on this starship that has been traveling for generations at this point, but the starship is getting ready to land on their destination star planet, and that whole process is known as Breaking Day. As they prepare to land, our main character's sister starts to experiment with this old technology from the first people who were living on this starship. And then after that, our main character, he sees someone, this like young woman floating in space, no helmet on, no spacesuit, nothing, and only he can see her. And it sounds like it's gonna turn into this really creepy kind of ghost story. It could be a sci-fi horror novel, sci-fi mystery, I'm not sure. But it does sound really amazing, and we'll see what I think of this. Next, I picked up Age of Ash by Daniel Abraham, and Daniel Abraham is also the co-author of the Expanse series. But this has been on my radar for a while, ever since it came out last year, but I've always just kind of been like on the fence about it. But I finally saw it on sale at half price books, so I did end up picking it up. This takes place in the ancient city of Kithamar, and it's this center of trade and wealth, and we're following our main character, Alice, or Elise maybe, and her brother is murdered. And from there, as she starts to uncover more secrets about his murder, it just leads her down this dark path, and more secrets start unraveling, and she just gets caught up in the middle of that. I mean, it sounds interesting, and you can't pass up something for like $6.99. Next, I have another sci-fi novel here called Places in the Darkness, and this is by Chris Brookmeyer. In this, we have a city that is set in the sky, and we have these engineers and scientists who are working to build a colony ship. But something slows down this process when a murder happens in this city, and this is a city that never experiences any kind of violence, and so it just really puts a halt to everything. And now they're trying to investigate what is actually going on, and essentially trying to find out, is someone trying to stop this colony ship from being built. This sounds great. Sounds like it's going to be another really interesting sci-fi mystery, sci-fi thriller maybe, but we'll see. Cannot wait to get into this either. Next, I have two books that I'm going to talk about together because they both kind of give me the same vibes, and they were right next to each other in half price books. First is The Gutter Prayer by Gareth Hanrahan, and then the next is Among Thieves by MJ Clune. And in both of these, our main characters and their circle of sub-characters are thieves and misfits. I don't know, like subconsciously maybe I'm craving that right now in fantasy, who knows? But in Among Thieves, we have our main character who is holding on to this precious secret, and she has been evading her guild master and all of the people that he's been sending out to find her. But in order to stay safe in the city and keep evading the people trying to hunt her down, she's gonna need to get together another band of thieves and work together with them. And in The Gutter Prayer, it sounds like we have another band of thieves here, 3 to be exact, and there is this strange malevolent power that is building up from the tunnels, and it becomes up to these 3 thieves to find out what's going on, and the fate of the city will rest in their hands. Both of these sound really good. I'm loving the artwork on both of them. It just gives me that kind of gritty fantasy, like port city vibes almost. I don't know if that's gonna be accurate, but that's what I feel in my heart. And then finally, the last book I have here is a massive whopper, and that is Great North Road by Peter F. Hamilton. This is almost 1,000 pages. This is a sci-fi thriller. I have not read a sci-fi thriller that is almost 1,000 pages long. Have you? In this, there is a technology that has revolutionized the way people travel across light years. The travel is instant now. This technology has cleaned up the environment, and it has also allowed humanity to stretch across all of these extremely distant colonies. And the family at the heart of this entire empire is the North family. But the interesting thing is that the North family, they're all generations of clones. So many generations have passed now that they're almost like, they're not even really family at this point, but they're more like rivals. And one of the North clones is found dead, and it becomes up to our main character, who is Detective Sydney Hurst, to find out what exactly is going on. This just sounds incredibly epic. I have no idea what to expect beyond that going into this whopper of a book, but it is on my TBR and I cannot wait to get into this. So that is it for me, you guys. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Let me know down in the comments what's on your 2023 TBR that are just like priority reads for you at this point. I want to hear about it. And again, welcome to the new year, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.